What's going on, everyone? I'm Jeff St. Pierre, and this is episode 181 of the Adult Education Podcast. We're taking a mini break from my usual conversations to bring you another episode of my series called The Unskippables. This week's guest is Nashville recording artist Payton Smith. I launched the Unskippables series back at the start of the year. The idea is I interview musicians and find out what albums were inspiring for them. Which records do they think are perfect? No skips. I had to take a break on the series for a bit, but I'm back now with a brand new conversation with independent artist Payton Smith. So you're going to hear more about it in the conversation, but I first met Payton when he was a teenager. He was on what's known as a radio tour. That's when record labels take their artists around the country to meet radio DJs and programmers. It's a way for them to build relationships and introduce the music to everyone. Payton was just 19 years old when he rolled through my now former radio station. And I remember thinking at the time that this kid had such poise and confidence and so much talent. Now, unfortunately for him, this was the tail end of 2019. When the pandemic hit in 2020, it dealt a crushing blow to any momentum that he had been building. And like so many other artists, Payton had to pivot and figure out what was going to be next. The album he chooses today had a big inspiration on what would eventually be Payton's goals. Payton Smith is one of those guys that I definitely wanted to keep in touch with over the years, and I'm so glad that we've had this chance to reconnect here on this podcast and chat. So I hope you enjoy my conversation with Payton Smith.
Yo.
What's happening, man?
What's happening, Jeff?
How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. How are you? It's been a minute.
It has been a minute. You know, I was looking through pictures because I was like, I'm pretty sure Radio Tour was 2019. So I started scrolling through. I couldn't remember where it was in the year, so I'm scrolling through, and I'm looking at all the different artists that came through that year. And I mean, no disrespect to anybody, but I had forgotten so many people had come through. But I was like, but I remember Payton. Like, so there was something special about that hang where I remember Payton came through, and he still stands out, 7 years later after that. So I'm really excited to talk to you again, man.
Dude, likewise, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I was looking back. I was trying to find a picture actually because we took a lot of pictures on that radio tour, and I found a few pictures of that visit today. I found out we were talking. So
did you have an adult? Did you have a parent with you on that trip?
I did. Yeah, my dad was out with us. Yeah, it was me and Brooke.
We had a lot of younger artists rolling through in 2019. I think it was Noah Schnacky. He came by around the same time as you. He had his dad with him as well. Callista Clark was having a moment around that time too. Man, good memories. Good memories. You must have been a teenager then, right?
Yeah, I was 19 years old.
What was that like? I mean, I'm sure, everything in your career has started when you were younger than a lot of other people. But what was that like to be touring around the country at 19, walking into all these radio stations and playing your music for them?
Very surreal. It was amazing. I love getting to travel, and I've always loved getting to travel. So that was an incredible time. One of my favorite times to be out there playing and meeting people. And I'd been in Nashville at that point, been writing in Nashville for close to 6 years, lived there for 3 at that point. So it was still kind of the beginning of the journey, but was incredible. I mean, some of my favorite memories are on the radio tour at 19. And also, I was still a kid. I was learning so much about music and I was learning everything. Life. Yeah.
Yeah. Talk about being thrown right into the fire too. I mean, you talk about how you were still new to everything. Of course you were 19, and here you are being put right there on the spot to go and do all of this stuff in front of, I'm sure, a lot of people that are much, much older than you and that have very long careers and histories behind them.
I love getting to play music. So since I was a little kid, since I was 8 years old, so I love getting to play in front of people, entertain, whether it was, 4 people in a room or 400 people at a show or whatever it was. I loved getting to do all of it. I feel really fortunate that even at 19, I felt very confident in going into those rooms, and just because I loved doing it. I was really passionate about playing for people, so I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah, as somebody who got to witness it, you could tell there was a confidence there. And I'll be completely straight up with you. I remember seeing you and being like, wow, the poise that this kid has to stand up here and play these songs. There's no hiding when you're doing a radio tour. To anybody listening that doesn't know what we're talking about, a radio tour is when a record label will bring their artist around the country and introduce them to radio programmers in different cities. And they put you in a conference room. Sometimes it's an office, and it's just you and your guitar, and there's nowhere to hide. Like, you either have to put up or shut up in those situations. And I just remember being so impressed impressed by how you were able to handle that situation I couldn't imagine doing it as a 19-year-old. I mean, I don't play instruments, but even doing a job interview at 19 felt terrifying. And you're out here singing your songs in front of all these strangers every single day.
There's definitely that, like, obviously, I remember there being pressure, but also it just helped that I loved doing it. Like, I loved getting to be in those rooms and meeting people and getting to play a few songs and the whole process, the traveling on the plane, getting to a city, going and visiting, three stations, sometimes three stations in a day, meeting people. And I loved the whole process.
Okay, so we're going to talk more about your history and your love of music, but this conversation is a part of a series on my podcast called The Unskippables. So Payton, I gave you a project to come up with an album that you think is perfect, just no skips anywhere on the album. It could be any album at all, any artist at all. So what do you got? Let's hear it. Which album did you choose?
There's a lot of albums that have no skips. For me, I'm a huge Eric Church fan, and I have a lot of memories listening to that music, and a lot of that music had a big effect on me as a teenager, but even more so being a 26-year-old now. I think when I go back and listen to the Outsiders album by Eric Church, it was just a great representation of not being put in a box or anything. Right? If you think about it, it's like you're coming off of an album like Chief, which, we remember Springsteen and Drink in My Hand and all these songs that were just massive at that time. And then for Eric to come out and do something like The Outsiders, with kicking off the album with The Outsiders and then having a ballad right after that, just him and a guitar, and then having songs like Talladega and then Like a Wrecking Ball. You cannot put that album in a box. You can't label it traditional country or rock country or pop country. It was just Eric Church. There was no box you could put it in. And so that album has taught me a lot about just being true to who you are. If you grew up listening to everything, there's something for everybody on that record. And it doesn't feel like he's trying to go for something. It just feels like he's being himself and letting all those influences in.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head with that. It's like he had the breakout. The real breakout was Chief, and that was what kind of put him into a new stratosphere in his career. And then he came out with The Outsiders, and from a commercial standpoint, like from the radio standpoint, we were kind of like, okay, what happened? Like, where did Eric Church go? But at the same time, like, from looking at it from the artist perspective, I love that he was like, I don't care if I don't give you exactly what you want from me. This is what I want to do. I'm going to put this record out, and more power to him.
I love that he knew the hits on that record too. It's fun to be able to low and listen to that and go like, Talladega, you hear that and you're like, immediately, yeah, that's going to be a massive song. Give Me Back My Hometown, massive song. Like a Wrecking Ball too. I mean, you could kind of pick the singles on that record, right? Which I love. And then there was other singles that you wouldn't have picked that he still went with his singles that I have massive respect for. He's just being himself. But I love that you can pick the singles on that album and just go like, oh, yeah, immediately like, yeah, this is the one that they're going to send to radio. And I love that.
If my memory serves correct, the first taste any of us got of The Outsiders really was, I think it was the CMA Awards or the ACM Awards, one of the big award shows. He performed the song The Outsiders on it. And it was one of those moments where like he came out with the pyrotech, like it was a big performance, but watching it, you're like, but this doesn't sound like what we wanted it. But you were still captivated. You still couldn't look away. It was such an interesting moment in Eric Church's career, I think, of like almost like a pivot in a way to watch that happen on that main stage as the introduction to the album.
Yeah. I mean, it was a full-on prog rock performance. I remember that performance, watching it like, I think I was 14 when that performance came on the CMAs. I think I was 14, and just being blown away and just going like, oh my gosh, look at all the fire and this. And this is not like the Like Jesus Does guy, or the Springsteen person I knew, but I loved it, and it felt true, and it felt organic. It felt authentic. And I think that's one of the things that I respect about Church is I always feel like he's pushing himself, but being authentic at the same time. He's not forcing himself into I'm going to go do this crazy thing because it doesn't sound anything like me. It's going to sound like Church. He's just going to push himself, and it's still going to sound authentic. So I have massive respect for the records that dude makes.
When you listen to music as a writer, as a performer, when you listen to music, what do you hear more of? Do you hear the melody and the harmony, or do you hear the lyrics? Which one stands out more to you?
Sometimes it depends. I mean, if I catch a title that's really intriguing to me, that I go like, "Oh, that's an interesting title. I wonder how they're gonna twist that." I definitely catch the lyrics more. Sometimes it might just be the melody that catches me. A great verse melody can catch my ear really quick, and then the lyrics come later. Sometimes a guitar riff, a great guitar riff will catch my attention, and be like, "Oh, well, now I'm in." Immediately I hear the riff and I'm in. I'm in the song. It kind of just depends on who the artist is, what genre it is, because there's so many different ways. I feel like normally a lot of it is lyric driven for me, but it just depends. Just depends on the artist.
I only asked the question because for me, Eric Church is one of those artists that I've always had a stronger appreciation for the music more than, I won't say all of the lyrics. There are certainly some songs that stand out more to me, but I found he was better with the music than he was with the lyrics. And that's just my own personal opinion. I don't mean any disrespect to Eric about that. I remember when Eric first came out, the first couple records, Sinners Like Me, Carolina, even leading into Chief, I was like, there's something special about this songwriting. He's putting some sounds in here that you don't hear with other people. But there were just some songs where I was like, I don't really know if I can get behind where the lyrics are taking me, but I'm captivated by the harmonies. So Eric was always an interesting artist for me personally, because I loved his instrumentation and his music, but I didn't find myself relating to a whole lot of what he was singing about, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny how that works with some. That's with a lot of artists and bands, right? I mean, one of my favorite bands is a group called the 1975. I have no clues to this day what they're talking about. That's no disrespect. I have no clue what they're talking about in any of their lyrics. But sonically, it makes me feel something, and I love that. Like, have no clue what they're saying. The melodies are cool, and I probably will never know what they're saying, but the music speaks for itself. And I think that's really, really cool when that happens.
There's been a weird resurgence in the last couple of months. He's had a couple of guest appearances come out, but Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit is kind of having a weird resurgence right now. And I've always felt similarly about Limp Bizkit. I don't know if you ever listened to much of their stuff, because their heyday was when you were very, very young. But I always looked at Fred Durst's voice as just another instrument. Like, I couldn't care less about what he was singing about, but it was just the voice itself acted like another instrument in the band to me. It was just one more aspect of the music. So lyrically, I don't even care what they're saying. I just hear him as a part of the guitar and the bass and the drums. It all just kind of worked together in a good harmony to me.
He was an instrument. And the way that he would convey rapping, singing, whatever it was, the way he would convey the energy, it didn't matter what he was saying. You felt it, because it was just like so much passion and angst, and like you felt it as he was singing it. Didn't matter what it was.
Let's go back to you for a little bit. Watching you play guitar when I met you back in 2019 again. So we're talking about 7 years ago now. You were just so talented, and you have great guitar faces, by the way. When you're playing, you have great guitar faces.
Thank you. Thank you. I apologize in advance, because sometimes they can be pretty ugly.
No, there's no apology necessary for that. But when I watch you play, I feel like he was born with a guitar in his hand. So when did you find your love of music? When did you decide, okay, this is what I'm really passionate about and I want to learn more about this?
First of all, that means a lot, because guitar is my second voice in a lot of ways. So I appreciate you saying that. I fell in love with guitar. Gosh, I mean, I picked it up at 6 years old, and there was nothing else I wanted to do. I was just like, oh, this feels right. Something feels really. I like holding this. I like holding this. I like being able to pour like a lot of energy into it, and be George Strait with the guitar, or you know, be Joe Walsh with the guitar, whatever, and just imitating people, as a young kid. I started learning chords at 9, and I learned my first 3 chords, and the classic DAG. From there, I just spent. That was still at a time where you could go buy CDs at Target, and so my mom would go with me to Target. We'd buy CDs, and I'd go in my room, put it on the CD player, and sit there for hours. I mean, 4 to 5 hours, just sitting in my room late at night, learning solos, and fell in love with the guitar. I mean, it was a match made in heaven. And then I started learning about how to play with passion. So I would get these solos right, like sonically right, or, they would note for note, perfect right. And then I had to learn how to play it with feeling. So that was a whole nother thing that I still am learning. That's the great thing about guitar is I don't think you ever stop learning things.
Talk about that a little bit more, because I've never really heard anybody else express that in words the way you just did. How you were learning how to play guitar, but then you had to learn how to play it with feeling. What is the difference for you?
For me, the little imperfections, I think, are the things that give it character, right? If you go and listen to, I mean, for lack of a better song to quote Freebird, you got to listen to Freebird by Leonard Skinner, right? There's little things that you can tell are maybe like imperfect. If you really listen to that solo, it's a perfect solo, right? There's so much feel. It's rock and roll. It's all the notes are right, but there's just little things that they do where you can really feel the sweat going into that guitar, right? Because it's a thing to be able to go and learn it note for note. All right, this is great, but it's still not going to sound exactly the same unless you put your sweat and your adrenaline into the strings. Like there is a thing that happens when you fight the guitar. Almost, yeah, fighting the guitar a little bit brings out this thing where it might not be perfect, but it's got way more passion. And I would much rather have a full of passion guitar solo than just a perfect note for note, just like, oh, that's perfectly crafted. And both can live in the same world too, but that's a fun thing to go after is passion.
I love that. Like I said, I've never heard anybody describe it that way, but that is, I can feel what you're trying to describe. Like there's a grit. There's something extra special on that guitar when someone's playing it with that passion, with that feeling. That's awesome. You mentioned your mom and you going to Target to pick up CDs. Were your parents really supportive of you with music?
Very. Yes, they my dad knew a few chords on guitar, but I had a family that just loved music and they loved all kinds of music. I mean, my mom would play 90s country all the time, and then she would play gospel music as well. My dad would play yacht rock and 70s rock and roll, 80s rock, and then some country slipped in there. And then I grew up in South Louisiana, which was just had so much funk and rhythm. And so I felt like I heard a lot of music. My parents exposed me to a lot of different kinds of music. It was all those things that influenced the way I write and the way I play today. But my parents were very, very supportive of me playing music. They just opened the door for me to do it.
That's awesome. It's always helpful when you've got a family that's there to support you. You mentioned where you grew up. How do you pronounce your town? Is it Houma?
Yeah, it's Homa. Homa, yeah. Homa, Louisiana.
So I looked it up on maps, and whenever you look up a town on maps, it'll show you like the highlights of the town, like the big spots you got to see. And for whatever reason, I don't know anything about Houma, Louisiana, but like 7 different hotels popped up. Why do you need so many hotels in Houma, Louisiana?
Those must be new because there were never 7 hotels when I was there. The town must be growing. I don't know. That's hilarious.
That's really funny. So when did you move to Nashville? How old were you when you made the move?
I moved to Nashville. I started going to Nashville when I was 14 years old, learn how to write songs. So we would come up once a month for a week, learn how to write songs. And then we made the move in 2016 officially. So this will be 10 years in Nashville, which is insane.
That's got to feel weird. It's got to be wild too. Again, like you're still so young, like you're still a younger person in life and in the industry too. I mean, a lot of people don't find breakout moments when they're still teenagers. You know, they're still fighting to get that opportunity to be heard and to be seen when they're well into their 20s. And you've been doing this career for a while. It's got to feel so strange to feel like you're so much further advanced in life than you really are.
Yeah, it's a very interesting feeling knowing that it's been 10 years and being 26 and feel like we're just getting started still. Like there's still so many things to get to do, still so many goals, still so many songs to write. It's amazing. I'm very grateful for that time as a teenager learning because I feel like a lot of that time from 16 to 21, 22 was learning a lot about who I want to be, what kind of songs I want to write. So I'm extremely grateful that at 26 it's been 10 years and I still feel like we're just at the starting line. Very grateful for that.
I want to come back to that in a second, but I read a story about what happened to you when you first went to Nashville to hang out, something about setting up in a hotel lobby. And I would love to hear you tell this story.
We came to Nashville in 2014 on a family vacation. We were supposed to go on a dove hunt in Texas. And my dad said, it's going to be pretty wild. Probably shouldn't bring the boys there. So he was like, let's take the family to Nashville. And, Payton's been wanting to go there. Payton's been writing songs. He loves it. It'll be a fun trip. So we went there on a Labor Day weekend, being young and naive. Told my parents, hey, I'm going to go down to the lobby of the hotel we were staying at. I'm going to go play. You never know. So-and-so might be in the lobby, and just young and naive, just dreaming big. And so went down there, started playing, got a little crowd around. Parents came down and talked to the concierge, and the concierge was like, I think there's something here. Do you guys know that? Like, I think there's something here. My parents were just like, we don't know. He just loves it. Like, we don't know if there is something there or not. We don't have anything to compare it to. We know he loves it. We want to support him. That's kind of how the journey started. The concierge ended up introducing me to a couple session players in town, and the session players ended up on that same trip introducing me to a guy named Buddy Cannon, who produced all of the Kenny Chesney records. And then that same day, went and met with an A&R at Universal, Brian Wright. Brian Wright was there at the time. Met with Brian that same day. The journey was off, and Buddy was kind of the first. Buddy Cannon was the first guy that kind of took me under his wing and was like, "Hey, I think there's something here. Can you guys come up here once a month and I can set some co-writes up for Payton. He can learn how to write organically, and maybe we'll cut some sides later." And that's kind of where the whole journey started. So it's crazy.
That is the most Nashville of Nashville stories ever, by the way.
It's crazy, man. It's still very surreal now. More looking back on that now I'm extremely grateful, but being 14 years old, it's just a crazy thing to think about.
So we'll fast forward a little bit. You find yourself on Big Machine Records, and they're the ones that took you around the country on radio tour and got you going, got the process started with you. But that relationship didn't last super long. When did that end for you?
Yeah, that ended for me. So, we got into 2020. We were still on radio tour. So we played the Grand Ole Opry at the end of February, got back out on radio tour, and this thing called COVID came along, and we were out on radio tour, got pulled off the radio tour, and we were supposed to kick off the Chris Young tour that year as well in April. So first big tour, first single, first kind of everything for me, and got off the road. We were all like, well, we'll pick it back up in a couple months. A couple months go by, can't go out on the road. A couple more months go by, can't do this. And so it was just this feeling of like, okay, this first shot feels like it might be slipping away a little bit because we have no way to work our song right now. Now our song is streaming great, and it's reaching a lot of people. It's performing really well, but there was no way to get out and play it. There was no way to go and see the reaction, I guess, for people. And so once we got into 2021, it was just one of those honest conversations where I was really lost as an artist because I felt like I wasn't being 100% who I was. And I think there's a lot of things that I'm thankful for in COVID. There's also a lot of blessings that I look back on and realize like I felt like I was being just a one-sided kind of artist where I was just this guy and this guy. And there was also these other things, these other parts of me that I really wanted to be because they felt true to me. The songwriter side, I loved being the guitar player. I loved high energy stuff. And at the same time, I loved being the songwriter, writing really deep songs. And so I kind of had that internal battle with myself. We got into 2021, and it just was one of those honest conversations that I had with the record label where I was just like, hey, when can we get back out on radio tour? When can we go start playing shows? When can we put out some more music? It was kind of one of those conversations where like, well, we've kind of got to keep going. We've got other artists it's their shot, and the world's opening back up. It's their shot. We gotta give them their shot. We can come back to this at some point. And at that point, I just knew in my gut that this probably isn't right. I need to go figure out who I want to be again, what artist I want to be, because I'm still 21 at the time. So I knew who I was at that time, but I knew that wasn't the artist that I wanted to be forever. So it was a very respectful ending to that relationship. Honestly, I mean that with so much. I really mean that. It was a very just clean slate, and so spent the next couple of years just writing songs and figuring out, okay, who do I want to be. I got married during that time, found my wife, bought a house, lived life, and so I feel like a lot of that time frame got me to 2026, where I feel very, very confident in the music that I'm starting to make and the lyrics that I'm writing and the life that I've lived. So it was a hard season for sure, that time, but taught me a lot.
You were not the only person. I mean, there were so many people that were kind of on the same pathway, even artists that were a little more established than maybe you were at the time. It's like they just hit that wall. I mean, that 2020 wall was so hard for so many people. And a lot of folks have not been able to recover from that. They've not been able to get that momentum back. I think about, one artist that I love and I've always had a lot of respect for is Dustin Lynch. And man, we booked that guy. We had him booked to play a festival show for us. That would have been September of 2020. And we were so excited, 15,000 people venue. We were like, Dustin's going to sell this out so fast. And then COVID happens and everything shuts down. That event doesn't happen. And Dustin kind of falls off a little bit too. I mean, and Dustin had a great run going too. So yeah, anyway, I'm saying all that to say you were not alone. Even the brand new artists were not the only ones. It was artists with long catalogs behind them that also felt that impact of the world stopping. Like their momentum just got shut down so fast.
Yes, man. That was a really hard time for new artists, for established artists. And at the same time, it opened up this whole new world of discovering music, which is crazy, right? I mean, during that time, the new social media platforms that were happening, the new ways to discover music, it changed the game. That those 2 years changed the face of music in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because I was going to bring that up because being an independent artist is not an easy task by any means. Don't get me wrong. But there is the element of the freedom for you to be able to do whatever you want to do that I think there are a lot of advantages to in the time that we're in, like you just mentioned with the ways people can discover music now through social media and just connecting with fans on a different level. When you're tied to a major record deal, they're the ones dictating when you're putting out music and when you're not. When you're an independent, you could put a song out every single week if you wanted to, and I think there is some advantage to that, especially for a person like you, who I think has a very special passion for the music and an energy that maybe some other people don't have. I think there are advantages. I'm not saying it's easy, but there are advantages to being in a position that you're in now.
Absolutely. I love being independent, and I would love to get back to a major when it makes sense because I love having a team. I love having a team. But this time has given me it's given me a lot of time to really focus in on every detail of how touring should go, of how recording should go, of how keeping up with the business side of things and running your business, because that is what it is. In a lot of ways is running a business and then finding the right fit for a partner to come in and add to that business when the time is right, when the songs are big enough, when the song has a moment. We're working on a lot of that right now, especially on socials. And being independent it's amazing getting to do that. And I also feel like Nashville and labels as a whole have also accepted a lot of that independence with artists building their career beforehand now, which I think is really cool. It can be really hard when all you're after is the record deal and you're just like, I just want to get the record deal. And there's that too, right? I mean, there's different ways to skin the cat, right? You definitely want the record deal because that opens up a lot of doors for you. But at the same time, you get to build something before it gets off the ground in the sky, right? You're kind of at like, before you get to the 10,000 feet level, you're still able to fly at 5,000 building something while you build up to that level.
Yeah, it's like things are cyclical in a way too. Like I remember back, in the 80s and 90s, if you were an artist trying to get discovered, you had to be out there playing the bars and the clubs, and that's where A&R would find you, and they would approach you and say, "Hey, I work for this record label. We'd like for you to come and maybe, sign a deal with us." But then it shifted more to just trying to find this unsigned talent and try to develop them into what you want. But now with social media and the way people are finding music, I feel like it's shifting again.
That's it, man. That's super exciting to me because we're seeing it with so many artists now where their brand is like, I don't know, like there's so many artists I can think of right now that like maybe 15, 20 years ago might not have like found the audience. They might have found an audience, but like might not have been given the shot or been like, I don't know, I don't know what we're going to do with that. That's really exciting to me, man, because whether it's through playing shows in your hometown or your home state, whether you're in Texas, building it there, or whether you're online posting videos of you being acoustic, figuring out like your style, your sound, all these things, you get that time to do that and build that before you bring in the right partner. So I love it, man. I think it's great. I love the fact that I think independent artists and major labels are both working together and both can go hand in hand really great right now. So I love it. I love that both the worlds are coming together.
It does feel that way. It feels like management teams, independent labels, larger labels, everybody's kind of got a different way of looking at it right now. I lost my radio gig back in the fall when my company did some downsizing, and I've been investigating getting into the label side of the industry and just watching how so many different things are happening now than even just a couple of years ago. It's wild, and it is opening the door to a lot of help to go out to artists like yourself. So I see big things coming in your future is what I'm getting at, Payton.
Oh, Jeff, that means the world, man. That means a lot, man. It's been a crazy journey, and I'm still just so grateful that I get to keep doing this. And I know that sounds very cliche, but I'm so thankful that I get to keep doing it. So all your support means the world to me, man. It always has.
Well,
So just know that.
I'm happy to be here for you. I know you got a song. The day we're recording this is Thursday, the 14th of May, but you got a song coming out tomorrow. By the time this actually gets out to people, the song will be out, but the song is called Lived Up. Can you tell me something about it?
Yeah, Lived Up is a song. The joke that we've been saying is Lived Up is about living it up. No, man, it's a song just about living life to the fullest, making sure there's no regrets when it's all said and done. Living up to your family and your faith and the things that really matter. Being a dad, I'm a dad now. I'm a dad to a little girl who's pushing her little unicorn thing into the room as we speak. So, living up to being a dad, living up to being a man of faith, just being able to say, I wasn't able to do it all, but I hope that when I get to the end of my life, it's a life that I lived up. And so it's a fun little twist on words there. It's got a lot of high energy, a lot of fun guitar solos in it. And so I'm very excited for everyone to hear it.
I like that in the background through most of our conversation, we've had a guest appearance from your daughter. It's Sunny, right? Is that your daughter's name?
It's Sunny. Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. I heard her playing piano earlier. I think this is great. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah. We've got number one here and then number two on the way here in August. So.
Oh, congrats. I didn't even know about that. Congratulations. That's huge.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
Do you know boy or girl yet for the second one?
Yeah, it's another girl.
Another girl.
It's another girl.
I got one. We stopped at one, but I got one. She's 5 now. And man, I'll tell you, being a girl dad is the best. You are going to love all of it.
Dude, it has become my whole personality now is being a girl dad. Like, I love it.
Wait till you start wearing a hair tie around your wrist everywhere you go, just so you have one as a backup. That's the telltale sign you've met a girl dad. They have a hair tie around their wrist.
I can't wait. I cannot wait, dude. Look, man, I had 3 younger brothers growing up. I had no sisters. So the fact that like I'm fixing to be outnumbered in the house by girls, I'm all for it. I'm pumped. Pumped to see how that feels.
All right, Payton, let's swing back to Eric Church really quick. I know you probably don't have the track listing in front of you, but if you could pick 3 songs from The Outsiders that are your favorite, what do you think they are?
Man Who Was Gonna Die Young.
Great song.
Lyrically, that song's absolutely incredible. I don't know how I couldn't pick Talladega. Sure. I know that was a huge song on that record, but that song is just captures so much nostalgia. and it's just a smash. Like that is just a when I think of a smash song, it's that. And then I really love Cold One on that record because it's got a little bit of a New Orleans thing. It's genreless too because it's got the New Orleans kind of funk thing. It's still very country, and then it's got an electric bluegrass breakdown in the middle of it that you would never expect. So I think those are the three. I love the whole record, but those are the three that I think of right off the top of my head.
I think I have the same exact three. I listened to the album before we connected today, and I was going back through and I was like, oh man, I had forgotten about Cold One. There is some cool stuff going on in that song.
It's a crazy track, man. It's wild.
Well, listen, Payton, I appreciate everything today. I know we've had some connection issues. I just appreciate you sticking with me and coming back on every time we lost you. And I appreciate all of the music. Where do people go if they want to follow along with your journey and find out more about you?
Yeah, man. Thank you. Thank you for having me on. So yeah, TikTok, the Payton Smith, Instagram, the Payton Smith. Everything I think is at the Payton Smith. And so we've got a lot more music coming, and we're excited to continue this journey.
Payton, I can't wait to hear more, man. Thank you so much again for your time. Now go hang out with those girls and have a great rest of your day. All right, brother?
I will. Thank you so much, Jeff. It means the world, man. Thank you.
Big thank you to Payton Smith for his time. His new song, Lived Up, is out now on all streaming platforms. Take a listen. I'd love to hear what you think about it. Feel free to contact me and let me know your thoughts. And thank you to all of you for listening to another episode of the Unskippables on the Adult Education Podcast Network. Until next time, be well.